And so that's why he's smirking right now, because he wants to say,
But
add a
don't
little
put
part to
words in
that
my
comment,
mouth.
but
Wait, don't put words in my
don't do
mouth.
it. Don't do it. Don't
Don't
do
put
it.
words in my
Don't
mouth.
do it,
Don't say
Dr. Larby.
what I didn't say. It will not be fair to me.
Don't
Yeah.
do not come on this show and show out.
I mean, don't put words in my mouth.
Well, go ahead. What was you going to say? Go ahead. Say what you
Yeah.
was going to
All right.
say.
So before I say what I want to say, I want to
Uh,
tell everybody listening to us that don't go for PhD if you don't need it, or don't go
mm,
for doctorate certificate if you don't need it. You don't need PhD or doctor of whatever you mentioned to be successful or to be impactful
that's,
or to prosper or to be
that's
rich.
true.
You don't need that.
Happy Wednesday, Entre Leaders, and welcome to the 20th episode of the Leaders Lab podcast. For 20 straight weeks, we've been giving you great content and helping you improve your leadership traits and characteristics. We have a very special guest on today's show and a very interesting topic. I would like to introduce my dear friend, Dr. Frank Larbi. He is a full-time associate researcher in international and comparative education at South China Normal University. And he is also an adjunct lecturer at the Guangdong Polytech Normal University. He obtained his Ph.D. degree in international and comparative education, educational leadership and policy from Beijing Normal University right here in China. His research interests are in the scope of internationalization of higher education and education for sustainable development. He has also published several research articles in the sphere of education and social science, citation index journals, primarily focusing on higher education. And he's also the founder of 𝗏𝙗𝗢𝗏 Institute, which you can find the website listed in the show notes and also in the description box of this. Not only is he the founder of 𝗏𝙗𝗢𝗏 Institute, but he is also a public speaker and my dear friend. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Dr. Frank Larbi to the show. Hello, friend.
Hello, Dr. 𝗥𝗔𝗗𝗏 Campbell. Thank you for
How are
such
you
a
today?
nice introduction.
Well, I try. I try. So today's topic is an interesting one. Today
Right.
we're talking about life after doctor. Is getting a PhD or is getting a doctorate worth it? And so I know you have some varying opinions about this topic, which we'll get into in just a moment. But why don't you tell the people a little bit about like how long you have had your degree and all of the different publications that you've done so far, because you've published a lot within a short amount of time. So can you share a little bit about that with my audience, please?
All right. Thank you for that question. Anyways, before I start, nice, sir. Yeah, that's you look pretty good there. All right. So, coming back to your question, yeah, I completed my PhD in 2018. That is like 3 years ago. Yeah, almost 3 years ago. And I started my work in South China Normal University in I think December 2018. Yeah, so I have done almost like 2.5 years, and yeah, as you mentioned, publication. When you do PhD or when you um, advance to the PhD level, I mean, well, everything you do is research and publication. So you kind of master yourself in that area. So before having this job, I kind of mastered myself. So when I started, I knew what I was doing, right, and I did straight that. So yeah, one of the best way that helped, it's collaborations, because we are in a sphere of academia and we have other researchers who also share similar interest. So the best and efficient way to probably do a competent or efficient research increase your publication is collaboration. You talk to people with similar ideas to collaborate so that you'll be able to work efficiently. You have scientific data, the analysis, like you'll be checking on each other, right? As the scripture says, iron sharpened iron. So you'll be sharpening each other, guiding each other, and watching each other's back. So at the end of the day, you make sure everything you're freaking is of high quality. And there you go. Yeah. So yeah, that is it. But one most important thing is, most of my publications are from my PhD dissertation, so it made it a little bit easier for me to transfer or to divide my dissertation into articles and publish.
Okay.
So I've kind of published like two from my, no, three. So one when I was doing my PhD, and two after my PhD, and I'm working on the third, no, the fourth one now to be published probably in the near future. So yeah, I don't work magically, but it's strategic.
Yeah, but you got a lot published in a short amount of time, and which makes me excited about the publication that we'll be working on. So just want to make sure I put that back out there as a reminder to you, so you are doing your part. But anyways, I know you have so many other works that you are working on, but this is important, So when, one of the things we've talked about this quite often, especially in academia, about the rule of publish or perish. We've talked about that a lot, especially in China. I feel like in Western culture, it may be a little more lax than it was before, but in China, it's very, very, it's like one of the highest requirements that you have is like, publish or perish when you're outside of EAP, which is English for academic purposes. So what has your experience been with the demand or the mandate to publish in your position?
All right, very good and critical question. And I just published it. No, I haven't published it, but I wrote a paper, a research on that topic, publish or perish, and it's in journal. So I'm hoping for it to be accepted. Yeah. So coming back to your question, the phenomenon of publish or perish is it's making academics. I mean, I'm very straightforward and I say things as how they are, Yeah, it's making academic dump. Yeah, I mean, it might not be the right word to use, but that's the only word that's coming to mind.
Wait, what do you mean academic dump? What's that, academic dump?
Yeah, I'm coming to that. So the importance of research is to identify a problem and contribute to the solution of the problem, or make recommendation for consideration by policymakers. So that those problems you've identified, probably other researchers might have identified similar problems. That is why you do literature review. All right. So you use this literature review in combination with the theoretical framework. Based on it, come out with your own concept. All right. And it's a door opener for you to enter into studying, critically analyzing the problem. After doing all these jobs, spending your lifetime making this critical investigation for a couple of months, even sometimes it takes a year. All what the universities expect you is to just publish. And that is all. The universities are becoming more selfish because the higher the publication and the higher the citation index, the higher they are ranked globally. So all the universities from Europe, America, I mean, all over the world, in Asia, Africa, everywhere, higher education institutions want to be ranked higher. So therefore, due to this selfishness, they push academics to focus much on research and publication. I mean, I love research. As you mentioned, I've published a lot of papers. It means I love research. But the reason why I said they make academics dumb is, instead of higher educational institution to provoke. I use the word provoke for a reason, or to push or to urge academics to put their ideas into practice, to be the leader of the idea or of the study they've made, to be the leader in terms of implementation and taking it off to action. They don't do that. They don't do that. No one cares about the workability of your ideas. No one cares about how your ideas will be significant to the society, but they care about you publishing your paper.
So you're saying that the work that you do doesn't matter. It's just the fact that you did the work and it's published.
Exactly. The influence, the impact doesn't matter.
Wow.
So for example, I spent all my lifetime in school, from kindergarten to PhD. All right. This long years, like, I would say if I put all the times I've spent in a classroom together, it might be like more than 25 years.
Okay.
All right. I spent my life studying. I come out from my PhD program with much knowledge in research, investigation, scientific research and investigation. All right. All what you told me to do is to write a research and publish, but you don't care about how I will be able to lead, or I will be able to ensure that my research is having the significant impact in the society.
And that's what matters most to you as a researcher.
Exactly. I want to see something changed based on the research I have done. And
but how do you know someone is reading your publication?
That's the most important. How do you know someone is reading it? How do you know no one is reading it? All right. And if you do a research, you make recommendation for specific group of people, not for everybody.
Right.
Others will read your work for literature review to also write another junk paper that it will have no impact. All right. So if I write a research, all right, I make recommendation to probably policymakers, maybe to Ministry of Education, maybe to educational heads or principals of institutions and stuff like that. Now, how am I sure that these policymakers are reading my papers? How will my papers, my ideas get to the institutional heads and principals? How will my papers and my recommendation get to the teachers? This is what universities must ensure, right? So if I do a research about, say, special education, and I design a very nice framework of how to teach children with, in some sort of impairment in a classroom, like I design a methodology, I design a framework, with some sort of combination of technology and all this kind of stuff. What the universities as research institutions must do is not just to see my work published and they'll feel happy about it and give me promotion, but is to make sure that I lead. If I need a research fund to do that, they should help me to get it. Then I lead, I make an impact. I use a school as a pilot. All right. I train the teachers based on my investigation, based on my recommendations. I kind of, and with the knowledge that I have, I train the teachers. Okay, I proposed this sort of theories, this sort of teaching methodology. Let's have an experimental or a practical experience of it and see how it will work. And mind you, I do methodology and stuff like that. So probably I have done an experiment or I've done investigation of how it's going to work. So let's implement it, right? So I go to a school. I'm a researcher from this university. There's a research I've done. Let's see how it's going to work. I team up with the teachers. I team up with the school administrators, and we ensure that it works. So we take maybe one or two schools as for piloting. And if it works and go on well, we'll be making a national or a regional, recommendation and change. So before the university probably would give me a promotion, they have to make sure I've gone through all this process and my idea is working.
Yeah, but there's a chance that you won't get that promotion if nobody is seeing your, I guess really looking at your research and I mean you don't know whose eyes are looking at your research. That's what I was saying before. Like you don't know who's seeing it. So how do you know if you're going to qualify for that promotion? Is it just based on the amount of publications that you have accepted? Or is it just based on the number? Or is it actually based on the quality? Is it based on the quantity of what you publish or the quality of what you publish?
Yeah, promotions are based on quantity and quality. The quality is determined by the kind of journal you published in.
Okay.
Yeah, the kind of journal.
So it's not the content that they really care about. It's the
it's a journal. So if your journal has high impact factor and you publish in that journal, it is assumed that the content is quality.
And I just want to reiterate the fact that we're talking about higher education institutions here in China. We're not talking about necessarily in the States or in the UK, although it probably is the same, but we're specifically talking about the requirements and the qualifications here in higher education in China. The Bureau of Labor Statistics with the United States Department of Labor reported that people with any type of doctoral degree can earn over 50% more than those with a master's degree. Do you feel that with everything, that all your frustrations when it comes to having to publish and not knowing if there is an actual impact that's being made, do you feel that do you feel like a doctorate does help you to earn more as opposed to a master's degree? Now, this is with us being here in China, because even with the pay in China, it's still, I know some people who don't have a master's degree and they're still making a lot more money. It's just based on their experience. So do you agree with that statement that, people with doctoral degrees can earn 50% more than those with just a master's degree?
Wow. That is a very good critical question. I read a book and I wrote a review on that book. And the title of the book is The Case Against Education, Why Education is a Waste of Time and Money. And I recommend that you read the book. Yeah. Why Education is a Waste of Time and Money. And the writer is let me get the name of the writer. I'll come back to your question. Yeah, by Brian Kaplan.
Okay, if you want to, like, I can edit this part out and you can say it again now that you know the name. So you can start with, I read a book by Brian Kaplan entitled blah blah blah, and I recommend that you read it. So I can cut this part out, and then it'll sound like you just went straight to the book and then answered the question.
Okay, so can I go ahead?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Oh, that's a very good question. I recommend you read a book titled The Case Against Education, Why Education is a Waste of Time and Money by Brian Kaplan. Well, I wrote a review on that book. It's a really interesting book. I love it. So coming back to your question, yeah, if I get a pay rise for pursuing my PhD, I think they're just paying me to compensate my time and the fees I've paid to pursue my PhD. Yeah. So yeah, that's what I think. You're just paying me because you spent time, about 3, 4, 5 years pursuing your PhD. You paid tuition fees and all this kind of stuff. So you're just paying me to compensate. That is what I think. All right. But when we talk about knowledge, all right? Knowledge, an application of knowledge. It is not evidenced by holding a paper called certificate. Yeah, I can ask you a simple question. Everything you know and everything you're doing now, did you learn them in school?
No.
If you take a critical reflection and do statistics, you may find out that about 40% of the things, or even more percentage of the things you know now, and were not taught in school.
Yeah.
All right. So then certificate is not an evidence that I know something much better. And I mean, I've always wanted to work in the university as a professor, and when I was young, after senior high school, right, when I was really young. But I always say this, and I'll keep on saying it, that higher education or academia doesn't make sense to me anymore. Why do I say that? For example, I go to the university, I study business administration and leadership or whatsoever, or any program. Do my bachelor's, master's, PhD. I get into the university right after my PhD. I get a position, assistant professor or a lecturer, as in some countries they will say. All right. And I start teaching students to become leaders, to become entrepreneurs, to become managers. Meanwhile, the person standing teaching have no experience of management. I have zero experience of leadership. I have zero experience in entrepreneurship. Yes, still I'm teaching students. What am I teaching them?
What you read in a book?
Exactly.
You're teaching them the textbook, the textbook that was given to you and told you to create a lesson.
Exactly. So I'm literally reading a textbooks to them. And everybody can read. Students who are in the university can read and understand. So anyone can just stay home, read the same textbook I read to be a professor. They can read it and they'll get the knowledge they want to get. So at the end of the
Too
day,
passionate about this thing. you be too passionate about this thing. That's why I always love asking you these questions, Will. And I just sit back and I'm quiet because you just go off. you literally just go off. But I bet you are happy that you have that degree, regardless of what's happening after the fact. Okay. Yes. Okay. Same thing here. Exactly. EAP was not my thing. Management was my thing. That's why I have a Doctor of Management, which we're going to get into the different types, the differences between a PhD and professional doctoral degrees in just a moment. But so I feel your frustration on that. Absolutely. But the question still stands. The title of the question still stands. Is it worth getting a doctoral degree? Is it worth getting your PhD? Not necessarily so much as to the frustration of how everything is going on after it, but is it worth it? Do you actually feel that all the years, all the money? Well, I think you had scholarships, but so maybe not for you all the money, but for me and for others who had to pay, is it worth all the years? Is it worth the sacrifice of having a social life? Is it worth, the money that was paid? Is having doctor in front of your name worth it now that you have a job? And there are some PhD and some professional doctoral holders who do not have a job. They're either overqualified or, or maybe it'll be said that their standards are too high for the job or whatever. I mean, is it worth having that doctor in front of your name? This is life after, life after PhD, life after DM, Doctor of Management. Is it worth it?
okay.
You better be honest.
Oh, I mean, you know me, I'm very honest. I say this as how it is, right? I'm happy I have a PhD and answering this question. If I hadn't pursued to have my PhD now, like everything I would say would just be guessing, right? But now I'm talking from experiential point of view, and I'm speaking right on top of issues here.
Okay.
Getting a PhD is useless. It's useless. I don't know how you understand the word useless.
Oh, you so deep. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's useless.
Okay.
That is what I mean.
Well,
Useless.
okay.
So
Well, explain that.
having the name doctor comes with a huge responsibility.
True.
You are a doctor of philosophy, a doctor of management, a doctor of education, doctor of whatsoever you are in. You're supposed to think beyond the normal. Think beyond the guy who has masters.
True.
Think beyond a guy who dropped out from school and is now the
Got a
billionaire.
food truck on the corner selling tacos and hot dogs.
You know, right? But we use the title less. Now, why should someone with a PhD says I'm unemployed? It's an insult to the certificate, to the degree you haven't. You have PhD, unemployed, and you have the boldness to tell people I'm not employed. You're not ashamed of that?
Well, they can't help it if the job market isn't providing them a job.
No. So
are you telling them to go and create a job? You're saying you have a
that is the knowledge you've gained. Create something. You get a PhD, you can't create anything. That is what I'm saying. It's useless.
Okay, Frank. Okay, Dr. Larbi. You just
So what happened to? Let me mention names of some people I admire. What happens to Jack Ma, Alibaba of China? Does he have PhD?
No, he doesn't. He got a whole lot of money.
Mark Zuckerberg, he was a school dropout. Bill Gates, we all know. Jeff Bezos. I mean, all these billionaires don't have PhDs. I mean, some of them were billionaires, and they just wanted to get a certificate, so they went back to school. After they've made all their monies. So if dropouts are using their brains creating jobs, and we call ourselves doctors, we can't even create a job for one person. Shame unto us all. Yeah, you can argue we are into research. Research is very important, as I've mentioned earlier on. I don't want to go back to what I've already said. All right, but call all the PhDs and ask them, what remarkable impact has your research practically have on our societies? How many lives, how many policies have you influenced?
Listen, that's why I'm a firm believer of having, I guess we call them side hustles, but not really having, so your job, academia, research, whatever you're doing with that's, that could be your career. But I fully believe in having your passion, which is your purpose, which is why I have the Leaders Lab, which is why I have Dr. Charity TV, Doctoral, the Explorer, Amazonicorn. Which is why you have Lofrick Institute. We have separate things, because suppose what you're doing in academia does not affect the masses. It may just affect your students, which I will say, I do have a strong feeling about that, not in terms of research, but if what I am teaching, what I bring to the classroom, which I always bring my A game to my students, I always bring my best to my students. If I impact one student, which doesn't necessarily come from the textbook, okay? Let me just say that, like we talked about before, when I come to my students, if I'm teaching my students, if I, in a classroom, my classes may tend to go off on a tangent sometimes. So I start talking about other things in class, but there are life lessons to teach the students. And if that can impact them, yeah, it's not the research, it's not the masses, but if I can impact my students in class, I do think that's worth it. However, I do agree with you that, just only doing what your job is or like your career is not enough to have an impact, not a lasting impact. So that's why you need to have something on the side. That's what I firmly believe. And I got that from my professors when I was in my doctoral program. They didn't just teach, like they ran full businesses, like had government contracts as well. My professors they were so dope. I wanted to be like them. I wanted to be like them. So, but
Yeah.
that's my take on that.
So, and yeah, you're talking about student having impact on students. Let me tell you one sad thing that is happening. Not in China, like all over the world. I mean, I don't want to be talking specifically about a certain country because most of higher education institutions are almost the same. Now, there have been a huge disconnection between teachers and students. Why? Because I don't blame teachers for that. All right. Because teachers have their jobs to protect. They have to publish, or they must publish, or they go out. Their contract will not be renewed. Their contracts will be terminated.
True.
And in publication, it takes a lot of time. Your paper must go through peer reviewed. It has to go through, before peer review, it has to go through desk editing, to decide whether your paper fits or not. If it fits, praise the Lord, it goes through peer review, and no one knows how long it's going to take. All right. It can take months. The shortest time you can ever get is maybe 2 months or 3 months. All right. Yeah. Sometimes it can take, I have papers like it took like 8 months in peer review.
Wow.
After peer review, they'll, like if you have 2 or 3, depending on the number of reviewers, they will give you corrections to work on. And you're gonna take, if you're very fast, you're gonna take like 1 month. Sometimes you need even more than 1 month to work on those corrections. You send it again. That is if they don't reject, okay? That is if they reject it, you have to look for another journal and start the whole process again. But let's say your research is very good. If they don't reject it, you have to work on the corrections. You have to send it again. It has to go through the same process. They will send it back to you. So after all the back and forth, if they finally accept it, 1 year is gone. 1 year is already gone.
Wow. Then
it has to go through processes for publication, another couple of months. So if you, as a professor in a university or as a academic, if you're supposed to publish even one paper in a year, let's say your university is so merciful, so they say only one paper, you don't have to risk your life to write one research. You need to write like 4 research, do like 4 researches, write 4 research papers, articles, send it to journals. Then if you are lucky, one to go through. But if you put all your eggs in one basket and the egg falls, you are doomed. All right. So then professors or academics are busy focusing writing people, applying for a research fund. Do you think they have quality time for you, the student, to counsel you, to guide you, to give you that one-on-one teacher-student connection?
Yeah, that type of connection. No.
No. I mean, I did my master's, I did my PhD. I didn't have that connection with my teachers. And I wouldn't blame them because they have their jobs to protect.
Yeah. Yeah. That's here in China because I had connections with my teachers. I had, in the States, I had connections with my teachers. I think, well, let me ask you, were your teachers foreigners or were they Chinese?
Both.
Okay. Yeah. So in the States, I had those connections. I mean, obviously you can just walk up to a teacher or just call a teacher, because they were very busy. And like I said, they had their careers and they also had their businesses and other projects, but my teachers were accessible. All of my professors were accessible within the amount of time, so I understand the whole part about, trying to make sure you have job security. So you publish and you do all the stuff that you need to do. But you can't risk the development of your students as a result of that. I know that's that's totally off topic of what we're talking about, but
yeah, students have been sacrificed.
Well, that's not good.
But yeah, I mean, you can do research on this. I stand to be corrected, but you can do research on this and find out from students' perspective.
Yeah.
What sort of, apart from academics, all right, aside from academics, what sort of, we have cognitive domain, affective domain, and psychomotor. Affective got to do with, the soul or impartation, to help the person build his or her personality. All right. What kind of influence do they get from teachers to build that confidence, that power in them? I know teachers, all right, are automatically counselors, but that aspect of teaching is missing. And I don't blame teachers for that. All right. I'm talking about higher education, not primary or kindergarten. I'm talking about universities. That thing is not there.
Yeah.
All right. So if I have students I'm supervising, I'm not just supervising their academics or their thesis.
Right.
I have to help them to grow, so that after their
help them develop. Yeah.
Yeah. So after their thesis, they'll know where and how life is about and where to go. All right. But it's like the supervision is like just thesis, and that is all. I don't care anything about you anymore.
Well, that's what's expected of you in your position, though.
Yeah, that is what is expected. But that's what I'm saying, that as doctors, we have to think about the normal.
Okay. So the difference is, because someone may be wondering, like, what's the difference between a PhD or like for me, a Doctor of Management? And for those of you who are listening right now and you're wondering about that, first of all, if you are watching the Leaders Lab podcast right now on YouTube and you're getting some valuable information, or if you're loving this episode, I definitely ask you to hit the like button, also subscribe and share, because you never know what good information or value you're going to get from the Leaders Lab podcast. And so, but back to the question. So in case you're wondering what's the differences between like a PhD and a professional doctoral degree. Well, a PhD specifically, which is Dr. Frank. Okay. So Dr. Larbi over here, he has a PhD. All right. And he's smiling right now. For those of you who are not watching the video, he's smiling right now. And I have a feeling I know why he's smiling, but you don't do it, Frank. Don't say it. Don't do it. You better behave. You better behave. You better not do it, because I know what you're going to say. A PhD primarily focuses more on finding research, data analysis, and theoretical evaluations, whereas a professional doctorate focuses more on applying research to practical problems and formulating solutions to complex problems and designing effective professional practices within their chosen field. Now, both are considered terminal degrees, meaning that you have achieved the highest formal degree in that field. And so just in case you're wondering what some of these professional doctoral degrees are, we have of course, DBA, which is not doing business as, but DBA is a Doctor of Business Administration. We have a DPH, which is a Doctor of Public Health. And for all of my attorneys, those in law, we have the JD, which is a Doctor of Jurisprudence, I think, Doctor of Jurisprudence. Then we have a MD, which everyone knows, which is a Doctor of Medicine. We also have DSWs, which is a Doctor of Social Work. We have EDD, or also I just realized, I just discovered that it's also D.ED as well, which is a Doctor of Education. And then also too, like for mine, we have a DM, which is a Doctor of Management. And so the difference, in case you're wondering, once again, about the difference between the two is PhDs is a Doctor of Philosophy. So you tend to focus more on philosophy and theories. And a comment that I made to Frank before was that, well, Dr. Larbi before, is that, PhDs, they do a lot of the thinking, right? They do a lot of the thinking. Whereas the professional doctorates, the practitioners, we're practitioners. So we do more of the doing. We're like hands-on instead of more so just, thinking philosophically about it. And so that's why he's smirking right now, because he wants to say, add a little part to that comment. But
don't put words in my mouth.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Put words in my mouth. Don't say
Dr.
what I didn't say. It will not be fair to me.
Do not come on this show and show out.
I mean, don't put words in my mouth.
Well, go ahead. What was you going to say? Go ahead. Say what you was going to say.
Right. So before I say what I want to say, I want to tell everybody listening to us that don't go for PhD if you don't need it. Or don't go for doctorate certificate if you don't need it. You don't need PhD or doctor of whatever you mentioned to be successful or to be purposeful or to be impactful or to prosper or to be rich. You don't need that. All right. So many people waste their time in the classroom studying PhD, and by the time, as you just said, by the time they come out, their qualification is more than the job's qualification they're applying for. Therefore, they have to hide their PhD and master's and use their first degree to apply for a job.
Yeah.
Yeah. So experience matters a lot. Experience is the most important thing. What I want to say, if you want to be in academia, then PhD is the right thing for you. Go for it. All right. But if you don't want to be in academia and you want to be in the corporate world, then focus on how to build your experience, your portfolio, so that you have more competitive experience. And because we are in a technological advancing age, right? AI era, right? We're in an epoch of artificial intelligence. So we have to focus on how we can learn more and apply technology to improve our services. If you're in the corporate world or any other sector, than just to waste your time studying PhD, and after that, you're not going to make good use of it. All right. But if you want to be in academia, that is fine. Or if you still want to, some people just want a title. If you just still want it, you can pursue your PhD. In the process, like after you've built your experience to a certain extent, all right, where you are very stable, financially stable, in your work stable, whatever you're doing, then you can do the PhD alongside. So the PhD is not leading you to get employment, but it's leading you to be more advanced in wherever you are. And yeah, coming back to your question, yeah, you rightfully, I'm not going to argue with you with the disparity between PhD and doctor, professional. What do you say? Practical PhD, practical. That what you use the word?
The professional doctorates.
Yeah. Okay. And the PhDs, right? So you're right. PhDs, we do the writings, the thinking, critical analysis of content, of theories. We make argument. We do comparative analysis. We do critical, in-depth analysis of theories and how they can be applied. We do all the thinking, put them in writings, and the professional doctors take them and apply.
No, I would not accept that. But
so then, what do you?
No. You are entitled to your opinion. Yes, you can say that. Okay. But many practitioners, in order for us to even apply what we learn from research, we have to first go and do the research. We don't just take a look at, all the theories that you guys come up with and then we apply them. No, we have to go and do our own research as well, because some of the things that you are thinking about or theorizing about may not have anything to do with the problem that we are trying to actively solve. So I don't agree.
But on a more serious note,
okay. Okay. Dr. Campbell once, Dr. Larbi.
No, you didn't win. If not one, no, don't be happy.
I haven't won.
No, I mean, what I said is still true, because you said I also agree to you that before you apply, you need to do research on the theories you're going to use to apply. And the theories you're going to research on are done by us.
Not necessarily.
You don't.
Maybe. Okay.
Listen to you.
Maybe. And for those of you who are like, well, what do, doctors of social work or doctors of science or, doctors of management do? Whenever you have a specific problem or issue in that field, it can be any field, because they're like I said before, there's a DPH, a doctor of public health. I can imagine that during the pandemic time, during now, that DPHs are probably in high demand, because you have, as a practitioner, you are trying to actively solve a problem that is existing. And I'm not saying they're out there trying to solve trying to come up with like a vaccine or anything like that. No, but I mean, they're on different levels. There are problems that arise that, as a practitioner, if it's in your interest, in your field, you are going to want to try to figure out a solution for that. And so, and I'm not, I just mess with Dr. Larbi because, as a PhD, to say, oh, you just do all the theoretical work and the thinking and don't apply anything. But that's not true, because we do have some PhDs who, they try to apply what their research is to their lessons. And like he said, if you want to go deeper in academia, then PhD is the way. But if you do want to venture out more in not just corporate, but in, maybe organization development or anything else outside of education or outside of academia, not to say outside of education, because education is not just strict, restricted to inside of academia, but education could be anything outside. Like you have leadership education, you have financial education, all of that stuff that's outside of a traditional school. But if you want to go into academia, as far as a career is concerned, then yes, PhD is going to be probably the best route for you. And I know you're probably like, but you have a doctorate of management and you're in academia. I didn't plan this, okay? God literally spun my entire life around and put me in academia. This was not my choice. This was not what I wanted to do at all, but it's working for me. So for now, it's working for me. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're also doing, alongside academia, you're also doing what you're supposed to do, so.
True. Yeah. True. And so are you. Yeah. And honestly, if you didn't have doctor in front of your name, I don't think we would know each other. If I didn't have doctor in front of my name, I don't think we would know each other. I mean, we met at church in Beijing, but that was it. There would have not been a connection. I would have been like, oh, hi. That would have been it.
Multiply by sizes.
That was just it. They would have been like, oh, nice to meet you. Okay. And then continue on about my business. But the fact that we did have that level of education in common allowed us to create like this crazy camaraderie that, just continued to build over the years. And so I do think, in terms of, and I respect what you said to people, if you don't need a PhD or if you don't need a doctorate, then, don't go after it.
Don't be enticed by the title.
Yeah. Yeah, but one thing I can say is that an advantage of the title is that it really does open some doors for you for connections that you
True.
probably would not have otherwise. And I mean, if you're doing it for, like he said, like that, like Dr. Larbi said, if you're doing it for the title, please understand that you got to do some, you have to make some serious sacrifices just to get to the title. And when it's all said and done, you may not feel that it was worth it. You may not feel that
But
it was worth it.
the thing is, it's a whole lot of pressure. Not getting it, but after getting it, a whole lot of pressure and stress. Because as you said, it opens doors and connections for you. So those doors have been opened for you because you're a doctor. And as a doctor, they expect you to be a critical thinker, innovative, creative person. All right. And they expect you to literally know everything about everything.
Yeah.
All right.
When in reality, you know nothing about
You know nothing, right?
you know nothing.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
So that
You
is
have to go back and
pressure.
like research and find stuff all over again. Like you just be like, someone asks you a question, be like, hold on, let me ask Brother Google about that. Let me ask let me go on the internet and check that out real quick. You'll be like, I thought you
You
knew
know,
this already.
and the funny thing is, you meet some young guys arguing on football, Chelsea and Manchester United, which one is better? Oh, let's call doctor. He has a PhD, he has a final. What does football got to do with doctor?
They expect you to know everything.
You know
Oh
what I
my
mean, right? So that after getting a doctor, you don't have to relax and enjoy the title. That is where learning begins. Learning begins
Yes.
after you get your PhD.
Yes. Yes, I will 100% agree with you on that. And I do not always agree with him. That's why he's laughing right now. I do not always agree with Dr. Larbi. 100% I agree with you that learning begins after your degree. I promise you.
Perfectly.
After. It's so crazy.
I
It's
mean,
like this is okay. So I went through all of that, formal education just to get out of it. And now I'm actually learning.
yeah. And what we should let students understand is all the education we go through from kindergarten to your first degree, master's, and PhD is preparing you to think
Yes.
and to reason critically,
Yeah.
to analyze things critically.
Yeah.
All right. So you don't expect to know everything after school. School is just to open your mind, to
Yeah.
open up your brains. All right. So if I see people who don't study, who don't read after school, I feel like they are closing their brains again. All right.
Mm.
So we should let everybody to understand, that is why we have a term called lifelong learning. Learning
Yes.
is lifelong. We never stop it. All right.
Yeah.
That's why I asked you that all the things you're doing now, did you learn them in school? No. Right.
No.
And you see, if you take critical analysis of your life, you find out that you're doing great, amazing things than than what you were taught in school. The things you've learned after school is so great and amazing. Right.
Yeah.
Even traveling to China alone has built up your learning experience.
True.
You've learned so many things probably in your high schools. Probably you learn about geography, social studies, and stuff like that. You learn
I
a
don't
little
remember
bit
none of
about
that.
China, a little bit about the world,
I
but
don't remember none of that.
exactly, but you will never remember anything of this sort until you travel to the country and experience the culture and the people themselves. All right.
Absolutely.
So the learning has opened the door that, oh, there's a country called China. Okay, let me go visit. And that is where the real learning begins. So real learning begins after school. And everybody, we should try as much as possible to be learners. And glory be to God, we have technology. We have Google, we have University of YouTube, we have Facebook and stuff like that that we can learn. But the risky thing is we can be fed with wrong information as well. So we
Absolutely.
have to be very careful. That is why we are educators, right?
That's
So
right.
we should be critical thinking and differentiate between original information and fake information. So
Mhm.
sometimes I become so annoyed and disappointed when educated people spread false news, like this pandemic, last year. many people were sending a lot of false news, conspiracy theories, and these
Yes.
people
Oh
have
my gosh.
masters, bachelors, and even PhDs, and they were making ignorant, naive conclusions. I'm like, man, you gotta think critically. Don't take what social media tells you. Analyze it.
Listen, I know people who take. My mom is one of them. My mom will tell me that girl, did you look? You know this is happening over in China. Really, mom? When did you find that out? Oh, it was on Facebook. First of all, Facebook is not giving you real news. Like, come on now.
Yeah,
But people do that. People do. They go to social media for real news, or they go to their friends, and I'd be like,
but Dr.
some of these
Campbell,
some of these
look,
people you listening to.
Dr. Campbell, the thing is, we have YouTubers, we have bloggers, we have
Yeah,
Facebook. The more
yeah,
likes and subscribers you get, the higher you get paid.
yeah. Of course,
So,
monetization.
right? So I can create a content that many people will watch and like they won't listen.
Yeah,
And I'm just doing this strategically to get likes, to get subscribers. So
yeah,
it's a strategic move, not that I want to spread news or information for people to learn. No, I just want to build my brand, get income. This is what I do for a living. So I
yeah,
create content people will look out for and will ask questions, and I will grow. So that is what many people are doing on social media. So as
yeah.
educators, that is what we have to apply critical thinking to make sure that the information we've heard is true or not. And that can apply. We're not talking about spirituality or religion, but I'm just chipping this in. That applies to religion and reading the Bible as well. You go to a church and you see highly educated people sitting in a church and being fooled by one person who calls himself a pastor, who doesn't know anything in the Bible or doesn't understand the Bible he or she has read. So being an educator, you should be able, even though understanding the Bible doesn't matter your education, but with the critical thinking skills you've learned through education, you should be able to connect spiritually, read the Bible, think about it critically, and have spiritual understanding of it. And that is how you'll be able to understand what God is telling or speaking to you about, right? So, I
See,
mean,
Frank, this is why it took so long for me to get your behind up here on this podcast, because you always going to try and flip it and start preaching. Now, we're not preaching today, Frank. I could bring you back for another time. We're not, Dr. Larbi, we are not preaching today. You
I know,
always
right?
trying to preach. You always
But
trying to preach. Bring it back.
it's part of life, right? That's why I said I'm chipping it in, right? I'm not focusing much on it,
Golly.
but I'm just
But no,
kidding.
you're right. You're right though.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to the original title. And I've been I've been thinking about, now this is all from a millennial perspective, okay? We're both millennial leaders, and actually global millennial leaders, because he's originally from Ghana, living, teaching, working right here in China in Guangzhou. And I'm originally from the United States, living, teaching, working right here in Dalian, China. And so we, this is a millennial's perspective, and I've actually been thinking, I've been playing around with the concept of creating a series, because I know other millennials who have either just, received their PhDs or their doctorates, or they've had them for a few years. And so just getting other insights and inputs as well, because we're not always going to agree with each other whether or not you think that is getting a doctorate worth it in 2021. That's the title that we're talking about. And from Dr. Larbi's personal experience, you can tell his feelings about it, and he just straightforwardly told you, if it's not something that you really do have a desire for, then don't get it. He even told you that you don't need it to pursue your goals or your dreams in life. And I come from the perspective of, I partially agree with that statement, which is fine. You don't have to agree on everything. I partially agree with that statement because I also know that, man, it's crazy. The title is crazy that the kind of doors that having that title will open for you. But the thing is, if a door or an opportunity is created for you, you better have the content to back it up. You better have the knowledge and the wisdom to walk through that door, because you are going to be tested big time. You're going to be tested big time to see if you're worthy of having that title. So listen, Dr. Frank Larbi, my dear friend, my dear comrade, thank you so much for joining us on the Leaders Lab podcast this week. I don't know. Do you guys think I should have him back? We have conversations all the time, and we have topics that we can talk about for days. So if you guys think that I should have Dr. Frank Larbi come back on the show, let me know in the comments below. Let me know as you comment, rate, and subscribe. We have quite a few topics. I was on his show a few weeks ago where we talked about leadership. And so we're going back and forth. So this will not be the only time that you'll be hearing from Dr. Frank Larbi here on the Leaders Lab podcast. He will definitely be back in the future. So thank you, Dr. Larbi, for coming and joining us on the Leaders Lab podcast. Any last words you would like to say to my audience?
Thank you, Dr. Campbell, for such a great opportunity to speak to your audience on this topic. Yeah, so what I want to say is education is very important. There's a quote that says that, I forgot the person who wrote it, who's behind the quote, but it says, if education is not important, or if education is expensive, try ignorance.
Yes.
Yeah. So education, we say, is the key. All right. And it's I also put it this way, it's lightening up the brain. Okay, so pursue education, study. If you don't have the money to go to the university to pay fees, tuition fees, and stuff like that to get a certificate, we have Google, and you can search for so many academic information, scientific information from the right sources to learn. There are so many published papers that you can learn from. All right, you can go on YouTube. All right, yeah. So getting the knowledge is more important. So try as much as possible. Educate yourself. Ask questions. Don't take anything people throws to you. Ask questions. Think critically. Delve into information to find out the truth yourself. The truth yourself. Open up your eyes. Understand your reality. Create your reality. Don't let others to create your reality for you, or to create your world for you. What is reality to you? What does the world means to you? Search it and understanding yourself, and that is how you'll be able to know how to approach things in our society. Getting your PhD is very important, as I said, if you want to be in academia. But if you don't want to directly work in academia, work and focus on building your skills in wherever you are. Afterwards, you can get your PhD, you can get a title for any other connections, whether politically or building social capital or any sort of connection that you want. So you don't have to waste your time just sitting in a classroom getting knowledge. The same amount of knowledge you can get in the classroom, you can get it outside the classroom. True. And real learning goes on outside the classroom. If you have the opportunity to be in a classroom, fair enough. Now with technology, you can study online whilst you do your own personal stuff. So you can, but the good thing about offline education is you have classmates. That is all. You build your social connections. Yeah, oh, my classmate was here, my classmate was there. So yes. That is the only important thing. So thank you all for having me. Thank you for listening to me. If I say anything that you don't agree with me, that is great. That is great. You don't agree. Drop your comments and your suggestion in the comment box. Tell me why you don't agree with me, and let's have a conversation. Thank you.
Okay, auditioning to be a co-host on the Leaders Lab podcast. Okay, you auditioning to be a co-host. All right. So like Dr. Frank said, we appreciate your tuning in today. Again, I cannot believe that this is the 20th episode, 20 straight weeks of the Leaders Lab podcast. I'm
job.
very excited about that. Thank you. And
Yeah,
I look
good
forward
job.
to the rest of the podcast episodes that we're going to have. And like I said,
Oh,
we
I
will
look forward to
definitely have Dr. Larbi back.
Yeah, I mean, sure. Maybe well, I mean, if you want to invite me, I hope I didn't give you tough time, but yeah, it is what it is. I promise
Whatever,
to
Frank.
behave. I promise to behave next time.
Dr. Larbi, I can handle you. You are not a problem. So you bring all the
Great.
foolishness you want. You can bring all the foolishness you want. We will shut it down. You hear me? You can bring all the foolishness you want on this show. I will shut it
Okay.
down and cut it out. I will edit it all out.
Well, that is all the only power you have. That is why I don't do recorded shows. I do live shows because I want it
Well,
as
I do
solid.
live shows on Mondays, which, just in case you all did not know, I do live motivational Mondays. It's called Let's Talk Series, and it airs on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter by way of Periscope every single Monday. Every single Monday morning Eastern Standard Time. And so, yeah, I do live shows for that, and people are able to comment and live in real time and all of that. But yeah, Dr. Frank's show is is like a webinar, and it is live and people are attending and all of that. And maybe one day if I decide to do the Leaders Lab podcast live, then I will do that, and I will make sure that Dr. Larbi is invited, so he can back up all the talk that he has, because I mean he's talking a whole lot of trash today. So let's just see if he can back that up. So anyways, thank you all for tuning
That is
in
why I
to
like live shows. That is why I like live shows because you not have the chance to edit and take out my trash. My trash is very important. We have a lot of good information out there and they are not helping our societies. Let's try the trash information. Maybe they're gonna help.
No, I'm going to keep all the good stuff. I just trash the unnecessary banter. I just
I mean,
trash all the other stuff.
everything is necessary. Sometimes you have to speak harsh words, to change people. Soft words don't work anymore.
Oh,
That is
that's
why
how you.
revolutionists. That's why revolutionists are hard. They're not like my brothers and sisters, my fellow Americans, my fellow Ghanaians. If you see someone talking like that, it means they come to rob you.
Oh, well, we're not doing that right now.
They're going
I,
to rob
I, I
you.
mean, I understand.
Yeah.
I think we're kind of getting a bit off topic at the moment, but I see what you're saying. Yes, I understand the pros and the cons of doing live recordings for a podcast, but thinking about my schedule is the reason why I have pre-recorded, and people are able to just go back and watch it at any time. So
That is good
on
though.
your show.
Post it as how it is. Post it as how it is. Let it be. I mean,
So thank you for tuning in to the Leaders Lab podcast today. Everyone, I ask you to subscribe to the Leaders Lab podcast. Download today's episode if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Castbox, Anchor, RSS feed, or the YouTube channel. We definitely ask you to rate, comment, and share so we can continue to reach millennial entreleaders all across the globe. Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of the Leaders Lab podcast. Remember, you can follow me on Instagram at www.instagram.com/DrCharityTV or simply at DrCharityTV. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Periscope, Pinterest, anything and everything with Dr. Charity TV. And on Facebook, it is Dr. Charity TV page. And Dr. Larbi, what about if people want to connect with you? How can they reach you?
I'm not really a social media type of person, but yeah, I do have Facebook. You can connect me, Frank Okai Larbi. Okai is OKAI. Yeah, you can connect me on Facebook. You can connect me on my website, www.lofric.net. We are into solving academic problems. If you want to improve your research writing skills, contact us. We provide you that sort of training. If you want to edit your paper, to send to journal for publication, we help you read your paper, edit it, give you guidelines of how we can improve your paper to be highly acceptable or to be fit for journal for publication. All right. If you also want to contact us and collaborate for research, we're also free. We also, collaborate with institutions to conduct scientific research. If you if any institution is listening, or if you work in an institution that you need to collaborate, yeah, we also open our doors for that. We also publish on our website. If you have any idea, sometimes if you don't want to go through the hassles of publication, you can write your ideas within a limited words, like 2,400 words, including reference list. Send it to us via the email. If you visit the website, you can you see the email, you send it to us. We read the edits, and if it's good enough, we publish on our website so that people will see what you have, and not just publish. We're gonna have conversation on it and see how your research would also have impact, right? So, yeah, we do many stuff. So, visit the website, find more information, and let's build our academic works together.
Excellent. Well, thanks again for tuning in, and I'll catch you all next week in the lab.
Thank you for listening to the Leaders Lab podcast. Visit our website at www.drcharitytv.com.